Hello and welcome to Newscentre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. 2022 was truly an electric year for the auto industry. India's EV registrations are set to cross the 10 lakh mark in 2022. In the next half hour, we will discuss the various hits and misses for the EV industry and what can be expected in 2023. We will have a packed panel. Delhi's Transport Secretary Ashish Kundra, Ravneet Phokela, Chief Business Officer at Ather Energy, Tushar Garg, Chief Business Officer at Blue Smart Mobility, and Srikumar Krishnamurthy, Vice President and Co-Group Head of Corporate Ratings at ICRA. Before we begin this discussion, let's take a look at the EV sector's growth and what 2023 has in store. From 3.2 lakh EVs in 2021 to around 10 lakh electric vehicles in 2022, India's EV sector has grown over 200% this year. From 0.7% adoption in 2019 and 2020 to 1.7% in 2021. 4.7% of all vehicles sold in 2022 were electric. While the overall percentage may seem low, the numbers are clearly showing strong growth. If monthly sales were around 13,000 in 2020, that number increased to 43,000 in 21 and 1.2 lakh in 2022. Among states, Delhi is leading the way with 10% of all vehicle registrations for EVs. When it comes to EV adoption, Karnataka is at 6.1%, Maharashtra at 5.6% and Tamil Nadu at 3.8%. 2023 is set to be packed with new electric vehicle launches. For the first time, at least 30 pure EV companies will showcase their products at the Auto Expo in January, along with electric vehicles from established OEMs. So here are some cars and two-wheelers that will definitely hit the roads next year. Tata Motors, which has launched the 10 lakh Tigor EV, will begin sales in January. According to reports, you could see the Altroz and the Punch in electric avatars as well. Hyundai will be launching the premium electric car, the Ioniq 5, which is the same platform as the Kia EV6. This will give you a range of 631 kilometers and could be priced around 50 lakhs. MG Water wants a chunk of the mass market EV segment. They will be launching the Air EV, which is most suitable for intra-city travel, will give you a range of 200 to 300 kilometers, will be the smallest electric car in India and will be priced around 10 to 15 lakhs. Mahindra & Mahindra's XUV 400 EV will be commercially launched in January. Promises a range of more than 450 kilometers and is likely to be priced around 15 to 20 lakhs. Expect a strong offering from French car maker Citroën. They will be launching the EC3 electric hatch to compete aggressively with Tigor and Tiago EVs. This will offer a range of at least 300 kilometers and could be priced between 10 to 12 lakhs. In the two-wheeler space, you can expect Bajaj Auto to launch multiple products. 2 EVs, one for micro-mobility and one for the B2B segment for Bajaj-backed Yulu, and more than one new scooter under the Chetak brand. Ather 450X Upgrade will be launched in January, and an all-new electric scooter from Ather can be expected in August-September next year. Bharat Forge-backed Tork Motors will be launching a facelift of the Kratos in January, followed by one new electric motorcycle platform in 2023. The world's largest two-wheeler manufacturer, Hero MotoCorp, will focus on expanding sales of the Vida V1 Pro and the Vida V1 Plus from 3 to more cities. But we do hear the company will launch at least one new electric scooter under the Vida brand in 2023. All in all, 2023, EV makers will be increasing volumes and launching new products. According to industry estimates, market share of electric two-wheelers could go up from 15% to 25% next year. Market share of electric cars could go up from 1.4 to 3%. That is from 50,000 electric cars in annual volumes this year to 1.2 lakh cars. Pricing pressures could impact the growth of the sector. Battery costs have been going up by 7 to 8% and are currently around $160 per kilowatt hour. This could impact sales. Any COVID disruptions in China may also impact production and prices. All right, so that was the setup as far as the electric vehicle growth in 2022 went and some of the factors that could affect EV adoption in 2023. Let's open this up. Let's go across to Mr. Ashish Kundra. Mr. Kundra, we have been seeing the EV growth in Delhi happening in a strong manner. The adoption is between 10 to 12% of total electric vehicle registrations in the state. Are you working with any targets as to where you would like to take the EV adoption in Delhi by the end of next year?
Yeah, so broadly, we had set a target for ourselves of 25% by 2024. And I think we are well on track because, as you've said, that 10% of all new vehicles sold this year are electric. And the good news is that there are some segments which are, demonstrating a very strong growth. For example, the three-wheeler goods category, 60% of new vehicles sold are electric, which is a phenomenal number. In December, in fact, all vehicles, if we put together, then 15% of all vehicles sold in December have been electric. So I think targeting 15% growth, 15% of total vehicles sold next year consistently should be a reasonable assumption in case of Delhi.
All right. So that's a clear target that you're giving us, clear estimate that you have 15% adoption per month consistently over the next 1 year. Ravneet, if I can get you in, Ather has been an electric vehicle player in the market for the last few years. You've been growing slowly but surely. Give us a sense of the kind of volumes that Ather Energy achieved this year, and what are the kind of volumes that you're targeting in 2023?
Yeah, so it's been a good year for Ather. So when you look at the retail numbers, they show a steady growth. But for the most part last year, we were still reeling under the issues around supply chain, whether it was cells or semiconductors and a bunch of other things as well. And for the first 6 months of this financial year, we were barely able to service about 25-30% of that particular month's demand. So we had like waiting periods of 5-6 months or so. So it's only the last 3 months, I think just preceding festive, where we've, the supply chain issues sort of were sorted, and it started reflecting the true underlying demand that we have in the market. So today we get about 10 to 12,000 orders on a monthly basis. And this is at a stage where barely about 60-65% of the distribution we plan for the entire year. So we still continue to sort of grow our distribution month on month, and we expect this number to grow quite rapidly. So we are extremely bullish about the next few months, and we hope to exit this financial year with about 25-30,000 monthly sales in that particular month. So it's by any yardstick, it's a very steep growth curve that we're looking at, and there's every indication out there to suggest that we will meet and possibly beat these numbers as well.
Right. So you were saying that you are targeting a growth of almost 25,000 vehicles per month starting January?
Yeah, so exiting the year, yeah, sure. Exiting the year about anything between 25 to 30K in March. So that's the number we're looking at. See, our capacity is about 4 lakh units annually. And we believe that towards the end of next financial year, we'll max out on that, and we're already looking at expanding that.
Right. Let me get in Tushar right now. Tushar, Blue Smart Mobility, 3,000 electric vehicles in your fleet, 2,000 charging points. What does 2023 have in store for electric vehicle shared mobility in terms of expanding the number of vehicles you have in your fleet, expanding the touch points across the country?
Sure, Parikshit. Thank you so much for having us on this panel today. Definitely a very interesting topic. 2022, as you mentioned, has been a brilliant year for EVs. 2023 is going to take all of us by a storm, right? I can talk about Blue Smart. We're exiting this year with about 3,000 electric vehicles, all electric vehicles on our fleet. And by this time next year, we are looking to be anywhere between 15 to 20,000 electric vehicles on our platform. That should also mean that close to about 12 to 15,000 electric charging points is what we'll be installing at the same time, and will also emerge as an EV charging player alongside the EV ride-hailing business that all of you have known us for. 2023 definitely is going to be an amazingly expanding year for us. We've grown 6x in 2022 as compared to 2021, and we cannot be more excited about what 2023 has in its store for us in terms of how Blue Smart wishes to expand, and at the same time how for the EV industry out there.
Right. So strong targets there. We'll come back to the funding part of it. You're saying that you want to grow from 3,000 cars in your fleet to at least 15,000 that you're saying by this time next year. Srikumar, if I could get you in for a larger countrywide picture. If we look at the total registrations or the total number of vehicles on the road currently, and then we look at the EV percentage, it would be less than 1%. It would be in the range of 0.52 or 0.53%. How do you expect the overall electric vehicles on the roads to increase next year? And could there be certain hurdles to it? We have been seeing reports on how lithium prices, inflation, prospects of a recession may impact EV sales, production, and also prices.
Yeah, season's greetings to everyone. Yeah, like you mentioned, the current level of EV adoption is low. But having said that, if you have to talk about the last 2 financial years, at least from a FY22 perspective, there has been a 1.5 times increase in the total EV sales. And from that base, this year we are looking at nearly 1.8 times. So the kind of pace of growth that we are observing with regard to the electric vehicle production and sales is, quite interesting. Having said that, if I have to dissect the overall vehicle numbers, so for the financial year 23, we are looking at anywhere between 10.5 to 11 lakhs kind of a number. And if you have to break this out, over 60% would be two-wheelers, roughly around 30% e-rickshaws. The balance would be PVs, three-wheelers, and commercial vehicles. PVs and three-wheelers possibly could be less than 3%, and commercial vehicles at less than 1%. So on this base, if we have to talk about the current penetration and also what we are actually expecting in terms of the EV penetration across segments, two-wheeler is the largest pie at this point of time. At the same time, the penetration level is still seen at roughly around 3 to 4%. This we expect it to grow up by around 13 to 15% by FY25. So which means the next 2-3 years are going to be quite interesting for the EV two-wheeler space. The pace of growth will be much stronger, and this level could reach as high as 30% by FY30. Talking about the other fast segment that we are looking at is bus segment. There, the penetration level is roughly around 5 to 6% at this point of time, and this is likely to reach around 11 to 13 by FY25 and over 40% by FY30. The third interesting segment is the passenger vehicle segment. While the penetration is still less than 1, it could reach about 4 to 6% over the next 3 years and around 15% by FY2030. So overall, while the base is low, the pace of growth with regard to the EV adoption has been quite strong in the last couple of years, and we only expect this run rate to be much faster in the next few years.
All right, thank you for summing up the EV picture. Strong growth expected in the EV segment all across the automotive segments. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. This discussion continues on the other side. Welcome back. We're discussing the EV outlook for 2023. We've got Tushar Garg of Blue Smart Mobility, Ravneet Phokela, Chief Business Officer at Ather Energy, Ashish Kundra, Delhi's Transport Secretary, and Srikumar Krishnamurthy, Vice President at ICRA. Mr. Kundra, if I can come to you once again, give us a sense of the government acquisition of electric vehicles in Delhi, whether it is in the government fleet and also in public transport. What kind of acquisitions or the quantum of acquisitions can we expect in the next calendar year?
Yeah, so public transport is an area of very high focus for us. And as we speak, we have already 300 electric buses in a fleet size of 7,300. We have placed firm orders to Tata Motors for 1,500 electric buses. All of them will be inducted in the coming year. As we speak, there is a bid which is under evaluation. Hopefully, it will be opened next week. For 4,000 electric buses to be inducted over the next 1.5 years. So net, we have set for ourselves a target that by 2025, 80% of our bus fleet on a fleet size of about 11,000 will be electric, which I think will be the largest in the world. The current global leader is Shenzhen, but we are set to cross that hopefully if all these bids materialize. And as far as government fleets are concerned, so far the instructions are that the hired vehicles which we have in our fleets will be electric, and those processes are under various departments have procured electric vehicles. But we are going to intensify it in the coming year, and hopefully, new purchases will also move to electric, except in emergency and enforcement kind of jobs.
Right. Mr. Kundra, I'd also like to ask you about the question of subsidies. First of all, how much of your scheme, the Delhi EV scheme, subsidy budget has been exhausted? How much is still left? And do you plan to renew this EV subsidy scheme under the Delhi government?
Yeah, so far we have disbursed about 120 crores of subsidy, and we have budgets which are in the order of about 75 to 100 crores annually for disbursement of subsidy. This is over and above the subsidy which we'll be giving out to the buses, because large chunk of buses were subsidized through the FAME scheme, which is now kind of expired. So the next tranche of buses which we will be ordering, those will be subsidized on the same terms as the FAME subsidy given by Government of India. So that's another pot of money which will cater to that.
Right. Let me get in, Ravneet, at this point. If I were to ask you how you would like to utilize your capex in 2023, how would you describe that?
See, two large chunks of our investments are behind just expansion from a front end business sales perspective. We continue expanding our distribution. Today we're in about 75 cities. We'll be in about 95 in the next couple of months, going to about 250 in the next financial year. So that phase of growth comes with distribution expansion, more front end investments, marketing, sales, workforce, etc. So there's one chunk that's sitting behind just growth. The other one is we continue investing behind R&D and new product development. While we do have a platform basis which we have the current two products, but given the pace of change of the market and just the exciting phase that we find ourselves in, we believe there is a space to get a lot more products in, and to service that requirement, we continue investing behind R&D and new product launches. So between these two are fairly large chunks of investments. The third one is capacity expansion. Today we're sitting at about 4 lakh capacity across two plants that we have. We are already in the market for a third plant, which will add 1 million units capacity over and above the 400,000 that we currently have capacity for, to take it to 1.4 million. So essentially, if you join all the dots together, all investments are going behind servicing the rapid growth that we're expecting.
Right. And just a follow-up question. Currently, according to industry estimates, the electric two-wheelers are 15% of the two-wheeler market right now. How much could this increase to in 2023, Ravneet? I'm asking about an overall electric two-wheeler picture.
Yeah, so I think two-wheeler is on a very strong growth momentum. And that's what's between two-wheelers and three-wheelers, that's where the high growths are coming from. This number, which is 15%, used to be about 4.5% about 12 months back. So it's not inconceivable that we exit this financial year, which is 4 months away now, 3 months away now, with anything between 18 to 20% penetration for e-scooters in the category.
Okay. So 18 to 20% is what you're expecting. Coming to you, Tushar, in terms of getting that funding, you gave us some very strong growth numbers that you have in mind. Give us a sense of how would you be securing the funding? Are you close to sealing a certain funding round with an investor? Any plans for an IPO in the next few years?
So, Parikshit, so funnily, because thanks to EV, our cost structures aren't very aggressive, by which virtue it means our cash requirements have not been as deep as what our competition has historically been ailed with. So, by which virtue I think we've been very lucky. Also at the same time as a business been very frugal with our cash. At the same time, I think on the fundraising for the year coming to all of us, I believe what I can share with you is that compared to if 2022 is going to be a base case, Blue Smart is looking to raise a very substantial, a very large round, and by 2022 standards, that might be the largest sum of capital raised by any company in India, is what I can share with you. A lot of climate-focused investment is chasing businesses like us, and India is going to be at the center point of those investments, and we shouldn't be very far away from closing in a large fundraise round for ourselves at Blue Smart. You mentioned about IPO. I would say we aren't in any hurry to do so. But at the same time, I think IPO is something that we would love to do as a business when we are ready for it, right? And as I said, not in a hurry. 2023 might not be the year for us to be going for a public listing, but never say never.
All right. Srikumar, to speak about the PLI schemes, both the PLI schemes for vehicles, for automobile components, and also the ACC PLI scheme, probably the most crucial of the lot. All of this will come into effect from 1st of April next fiscal. How do you think this will help the EV industry? Will the prices come down if cell manufacturing begins in India?
ACC PLI scheme, this is the outlay is roughly around 1800 crore of rupees, and the idea is to develop the futuristic technologies and also localizing the battery manufacturing and EV supply chain. While these are the primary schemes that the government had provided, but incrementally there were other policy measures also that supported electrification. The key ones being the state EV policies, which provided incremental incentives for say demand generation, charging ecosystem per se, and other policy measures also continued, like 100% FDI in EVs, taxation benefits on interest on the loans taken for purchase of EVs. There was a correction in the inverted duty structure, and also the GST. There was a correction on the battery pack. It continues because we do see notifications around the battery swapping policy, further investments in the EV space. So all these are likely to support the manufacturing as well as the ecosystem, the development of an ecosystem wherein the localization is actually a prime mover. So should that happen the way the government is envisaging, obviously the prices should come down over the medium term.
All right. We've run out of time, but my final question to Mr. Kundra. Mr. Kundra, we believe that the FAME outlay of 10,000 crores would get exhausted next year. This is because of the large adoption or large acquisition of buses for public transport all across the country. Do you think the EV ecosystem is now strong enough to work without subsidies, or should subsidies for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, and public transport continue, and also for charging infrastructure? What do you feel? I'm asking you about a central government level. What is your perspective? Do these subsidy schemes, the schemes such as the FAME scheme, need to continue?
I think the central government has given a lot of support in catalyzing the initial round of transition from ICE to EV. And I think states have also matched their top-ups with the purchase incentives. I think there are, after all, it's the same pot of money that you're talking about, and how you use it. So the central government has moved from the FAME to PLI schemes, which are in a way supporting similar initiatives from a different direction. So I don't see that there is any slowdown in terms of support offered by the central government. The main thing is that there is an adequate buy-in of the states. There's a contrast I always draw between CNG adoption, which started 30 years ago, and the EV adoption. There is a competitive policy push from the states, and the rate of adoption is phenomenal across the country. I mean, let's remember that, Delhi's EV policy was launched just about 2 years ago, and one of those years was a COVID year. And in spite of that, we have the numbers that we have. So I see it's a point of takeoff, which is irreversible. And public transport, of course, is a big push. I mean, the National Electric Bus Program of 50,000 buses is certainly going to be a game changer in the way people move around in cities. So it's an irreversible point, actually.
All right. So clearly the state governments and their state-level schemes will be driving EV adoption in the next few years. And there's competition among states as well. Tushar Garg, Ravneet Phokela, Ashish Kundra, Srikumar Krishnamurthy, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast on how this year has been for electric vehicles and what 2023 has in store. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.